Mark Rogers, the voice of college football, teaming up with SG1 Sports to get you set for SEC Football 2019. Lock it in right here at SG1 SEC. All right, 4 reasons why LSU will win the SEC in 2019. Reason number 1, Joe Burrow. Yes, he had pedestrian numbers in 2018, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 58% completion percentage. Not bad, but not great dynamic, anything that would lead toward a championship. But let's take into consideration what Joe Burrow faced in 2018. At this point last year, Joe Burrow was still a member of Ohio State, or he was somewhere in flux. He didn't step on campus at LSU until the first week of August. In a very short 4 weeks, he had to get acclimated to a new campus, new surroundings, new people, enroll for classes, new playbook, new coaches, new terminology, new system, and oh yeah, his teammates. And he's supposed to be the leader of all these guys, and he had to learn names. Joe Burrow was thrown into a difficult situation at a top school with expectations of winning, and oh yeah, his first opponent, he faced one of the top 5 to 10 defenses in college football in Miami and played rather well. LSU and Joe Burrow exceeded expectations in 2018, and he was one of the big reasons why. He played well, he managed the offense, and he has a full calendar year of all those seasons of the spring sessions, the summer sessions, alone individual workouts with his teammates going into August to prepare himself for this fall. Joe Burrow finished last season on fire. He lit up Texas A&M's defense, played extremely well in that marathon zillion overtime game, and he had a great bowl game against Central Florida with 394 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. Joe Burrow was on a roll at the end of last year, finally getting comfortable. And even out of the gate, he showed us that he's a leader. Joe Burrow in 2019 will be a much better quarterback, and reason number 1 why LSU will win the SEC in 2019. All right, reason number 2, the Tigers win their first SEC championship since 2011. The LSU ground game is back. Nick Brissett ran for 1,000 yards last year, but LSU's ground game has not been the same without that one guy who's a superstar. Leonard Fournette, Jeremy Hill, Darius Geis. They didn't have that guy last year, Nick Brissett. He was a workmanlike back. He averaged 4.3 yards per carry. In fact, LSU had its worst yards per game and yards per carry figure going back to 2011. All right, they now in the stable have elite backs. 2 of the top 8 backs in the nation have signed with LSU, and John Emery and Tyrion Davis-Price. All right. You say they're just freshmen, but we know that freshmen make an impact in today's college football, and especially at the running back position where it's really pass blocking that they have to learn. Everything else is natural instinct, reading the blocks. Yes, they have to acclimate themselves to the offense, but they're going to have time to get that done. So LSU should be much better on the ground than they've been in recent years. The learning curve for running back is not huge. Plus, they have the reliance of 4 of 5 offensive linemen coming back. LSU is going to be back to having a ground and pound, solid running game to manage the SEC in 2019. So it's reason number 2 why LSU will return to the top of the SEC, the running game. Reason number 3 that LSU will win the SEC is the schedule. The schedule's brutal for any team that plays in the SEC Western Division. LSU travels to Texas, but if you believe in Death Valley, then LSU's schedule is manageable. And most of us think that Death Valley is the most difficult place to play in college football. And LSU, outside of the Alabama game, plays all of its chief rivalry games inside the SEC in Death Valley. They've got Florida, Auburn, Texas A&M, all at home. And then keep in mind, even the Alabama game has not been a situation in which the home field has mattered recently in that series. LSU's last win was at Alabama in 2011 in Tuscaloosa. Also, 5 of LSU's last 8 wins in the series have been in Tuscaloosa, so it really hasn't mattered against the Tide. And LSU has, again, the top of the SEC Western Division with Texas A&M, Auburn, and also Florida in Death Valley. So if you believe in Death Valley, the schedule is manageable for LSU to win the SEC. And reason number 3, why the Bayou Bengals will win the conference. All right. Reason number 4 that LSU will win the SEC in 2019, the trajectory is reversing. So there's usually a trajectory of programs based on the momentum, recruiting, the coaching. And what we've seen in recent years with LSU is a downward slide. Since reaching the BCS championship game and losing the rematch to Alabama in 2011, LSU football has gone from elite to second or third tier. Keep in mind that they were a dominant program from the time Nick Saban raised the level in 2001 and won the SEC through 2 national championship wins in 2003 and then also in 2007, getting back to the title game in 2011. That's 3 appearances in 9 years, and LSU constantly finishing in the top 5 to 10 in the country. That since that championship letdown against Bama, losing 21-0, getting embarrassed, LSU has not made it through a season without losing at least 3 games. They've only won 71% of their games, only 64% in the SEC. But this past season, Ed Orgeron and company won its first 10 games in a season since 2013. LSU finishing in the top 10 for the first time since going back to the early portion of the decade. It's been years and years and years since LSU hit the heights that they did in 2018, despite the whitewashing against Alabama and a few disappointing losses. LSU is starting to reverse the trend under Ed Orgeron with a top 5 recruiting class in 2019 as well. And also keep in mind that LSU team last year set a school record by defeating 4 top 10 teams at the time of the game. They also, for the first time since 2012, had no letdowns, no losses against anyone who was unranked. So the trajectory might be turning in the SEC Western Division concerning LSU and Ed Orgeron. Reason number 4, why LSU will win the SEC in 2019. Give us your prediction on LSU football down in the comment section below. Keep it locked in right here at SG1 Sports SEC, and we will see you next time.